Shalom, Kalalal Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. All praises, glory, and honor do unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that rule well, that do teach well, and that have taught me this truth to you. I say Shalom and Shalom unto the hopeful elect. This is Brother Gabar Allah. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying today. And we're going to go into this headline here, a couple headlines. And it says the end of globalization. Also, I'm going to go into a reading here from the book called En Route to Global Occupation. A high-ranking government liaison exposes the secret agenda for world unification, written by Gary H. Ka. And yeah, so we're going to go into page 38, and we're going to read the highlighted part here. But before we do that, I'm just going to take a look at this. So what is globalization to begin with? Well, I pulled it up on the AI overview, and it says, globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness and interdependence of countries through the flow of goods, services, capital, people, and ideas across international boundaries. Yeah, so, sovereign states doing business with other sovereign states, right? And now they want to get rid of this. And that doesn't mean that buying and selling is going to come to a halt or come to an end. No, because us as a species, mankind, we're just set up to always buy and sell. You're always going to have a consumer, you're always going to have a producer, right? That's never going to end. It's just now they're tired of this economic model of globalization. They're saying it's failing because of what's going on in the world today, especially the global economy, especially what Donald Trump did in bringing forth these tariffs. And a lot of nations, they feel that Donald Trump caused a lot of problems in the world, and they don't want to go through that ever again, through this whole trade war, right? They don't want to ever experience that again. So the way to get out of that, the way to never experience that ever again, is to go into something called multipolarization, which is simply going to lead to an NWO, a one world government. And that's found written in the scriptures. So when it says the end of globalization, they're letting you know they're getting rid of the old system and bringing in a new system. That's basically what they're telling you. Now, I'll say this. What they're doing is nothing new. Let me get a precept. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Yeah, and the same spirits are back here today doing the same wicked things that they did in the past. Especially going back to the book of Genesis, going into the story of the Tower of Babel, which really happened. All these nations came together under one banner to pretty much be over the Most High, to be like God and shit, right? And they all came together under one consent, believing in the same thing, being wicked as hell. And that represents the people of today going into NATO and the EU and the United Nations and these different organizations that are out here. Those are the same spirits coming back. Also going into the time of Antiochus Epiphanes IV. What did he do? Matter of fact, let me bring that out. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 40. I'm going to start 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Shabbat. You see? So this is going into a one world government. So that same blueprint, that same format, the same way of doing things was back then, and it's here now today. So they're doing nothing new, right? And I'll say, the king of Babylon today, he's in the spirit of King Antiochus Epiphanes IV. Now let me get this. This is Daniel 8 and 25, talking about the same person Antiochus Epiphanes IV, says Daniel chapter 8 verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Yeah, man. And it's through that policy going into his wisdom, right? His wisdom and his intelligence. His wisdom is bringing forth the New World Order and the devices that come with it, like the MOTB, cashless society, one world government, everybody forsaking the laws, their traditional laws, and following one law, one rule, one way of doing things. And it says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. Yeah, he has a God complex. He says, I am better than the Most High. And by peace shall destroy many. That's right. Because he rules with the sword. Okay, Antiochus Epiphanes and the people that are in the same spirit of Antiochus today. Going into you Edomites. You rule with the sword. And yes, by peace you will destroy many. With this NWO, you're saying that it's going to give you peace, it's going to give you prosperity. Right? But it's going to create a more centralized government. It's actually going to create more tyranny. So it is going to destroy many. And a lot of you people that are not going to buy into it, you're going to be killed and taken out too. That's spoken of in Revelation the 13th chapter. Anybody that goes up against the beast and the system, you're going to be killed, man. If you don't worship the beast, you're going to be killed. And it says, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. That's right. And the prince of princes is talking about Yahushua, Hamashiach Yahushua. And Yahushua is going to come back and take these devils down. He's going to take this beast system down. He's going to take down these wicked rulers. And he's going to bring in the kingdom of heaven. So I just wanted to bring out those precepts first. Hopefully it made sense to you. So it says the end of globalization. So we're pretty much clear now that this is talking about multipolarization, bringing forth NWO. All right, that's what they're doing here. That's why Trump said, let's make Canada the 51st state. We're paying all this money to this sovereign nation. Let's cut that off. Let them join on to us. Let's go into Denmark and take it over. It's not about the physical occupation of the land. It's about those nations that he's going up against to make a contract with them so they can be under him. That's what it's going into. That's what he really wants. Some type of economic union or some type of military union. Right? He wants everybody to be unified. That's the goal here, right? So it says, there was a clear message emanating from Western policymakers over the weekend. The world is facing the end of the era of globalization. The ECB's Isabel Schnabel made the point in a speech to business leaders in Italy on Saturday when she said that Liberation Day was not liberating, but it seems to have marked the end of global free trade. Similarly, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to give a speech later today where he will say that globalization has failed as an economic model and its time is now at an end. Did you see that? Okay, and this is what they're saying. They're telling you, okay, no more sovereign states. Everybody's going to fall under one banner. That's the old way of doing things. Now we're going to bring in a new system. NWO. And this is subtle. This title to the unlearned, to the people that are not in the know, this is going to go right over your heads, because you have a lot of people out here who are ignorant and they think that the Lord's promise, what he promised you and what he wrote in the scriptures, they think it's not going to come to pass. They think the Lord is slacking out here, man. Let me get this precept actually. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. That's true. And the elect is not ignorant. The prophets and the elect are not ignorant. Why? Because Amos 3 and 6 says, he will reveal his mysteries unto his servants, the prophets. So the prophets and the elect, they're not ignorant. They're in the know. But you people out here, you're ignorant. You're very ignorant, and you love it. Now, there's a saying out here, ignorance is bliss. A lot of you people don't want to know what's going on. A lot of you people, when you look at things like this, you think everything's good. Oh, that's nothing. That's just a bunch of economic stuff, politics. That's boring. Well, what does the scripture say? 1 Corinthians 14 and 38. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. So just stay ignorant then. But just remember, you're going to have to reap what you sow. If you don't want to get down with the Lord's program and follow and abide with what he's telling you, then you're going to get destroyed, man. So, be ignorant. You're going to reap what you sow. Get judged. Because there's going to be a time where the Lord is going to bring destruction upon this place, man. And if you ain't right, you're going to get caught up in it. You're going to die. You're going to perish. So that's on you. That's on you. Okay, now it says here, devices, that's going into an evil intent, which is a thought process. He's thinking about evil things. Right, and that encompasses the New World Order, the MOTB, Akasha Society, putting you people into slavery, having complete control through a centralized government. That's a part of the devices. That's a part of his evil intent, his thought process. Hey, and it's going to actually manifest. It's going to play out. I believe that's in Revelation 12 and 12. It says, for he knoweth that he hath a short time. Satan's coming down with wrath. He has but a short time, I believe. Let me see if I can find that. Bring out that precept. So this is Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. That's right. He has a short time to bring in that NWO, and he's going to do everything in his power to do it. If it means by killing you and getting rid of you. That's in Revelation the 13th chapter, man. If you don't want to worship the beast, you're going to be put to death. He'll kill you, man. If you come up against this NWO, he'll kill you. And he's done that, man. He did that to certain leaders that didn't want to play the game, that didn't want to bring in the NWO. Look at Gaddafi, man. You got fucking judged. You got killed. Look at Saddam. He got killed. That's if he's really dead. But whatever. You know what I mean, man. Get judged, man. But yeah, if you're not down with the game, you're going to die. But this devil, he has a short time. Because the scripture says the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. And the gig is up. The jig is up. About this devil. People are waking up to the fact of who the devil really is. And he knows that. So he's trying to bring in this New World Order to upset the prophecies of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai so he can do his thing, man. That's Psalms 49 and 11. His inward thought is that his houses shall continue forever. Right? He's trying to bring forth an everlasting kingdom in wickedness, man. This devil. But he ain't going to do it. He ain't going to do it. All right, so here's the next one. It says, Starmer to proclaim end of globalization times. The UK PM will say that tariffs are wrong, but that he understands U.S. President Donald Trump's economic nationalism. Yeah, economic nationalism, which it's bigger than the United States. It's not just about protecting the United States. It's about bringing forth the NWO. And that's what these different leaders do. That's what the elites do. They set up these different leaders to point the finger at each other. Like one is doing bad and one is doing good. When they're all a part of the same game. Donald Trump did all these tariffs. People are saying he's the problem for it. He's creating all these problems. Okay, so then let's bring in a new system. That's the whole point. That's a game they're playing, man. That's, what is it? Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, and solution, man. That's the game. Okay, and it's in quotations for a reason. Economic nationalism. Because it's not about that. It's about a bigger plan, the NWO. And that's why he understands U.S. President Donald Trump. That's why he understands, because he understands the game. He knows the plan. So it says here, I'm going to just go to the quotes. And it says, an unnamed Downing Street official told the Times that the world has changed, globalization is over, and we are now in a new era. We have got to demonstrate that our approach, a more active labor government, a more reformist government, can provide the answers for people in every part of this country, the official said. The Prime Minister already stated in an article for the Telegram published yesterday that the world as we knew it has gone in the face of Donald Trump's tariff. See, so it's Donald Trump's fault. And Donald Trump is playing the role of the bad guy. Good cop, bad cop. He's playing the bad guy. But you know what I mean, man. He's playing that game of I'm being the bad guy. Right? So it says, first it was defense and national security. Now it is the global economy and trade. Old assumptions can no longer be taken for granted, he said, adding that the British government would soon turbocharge plans that will improve our domestic competitiveness so we're less exposed to these kinds of global shocks. You see that? So now they no longer want to be exposed to these kinds of global shocks. So you know what they're going to do? Bring in a new system so this never ever happens again. So that means a one world government. You know, things like this can't happen if we're under a one world currency, if we're under a cashless society, right? Everything is being monitored by the MOTB, which is that device, that main device, the chip. So we won't have any global shocks if we all come together. See the game here? That's what they're doing. Now we're going to go into the reading now for the sake of time. This is from En Route to Global Occupation, written by Gary H. Ka. And it says, the hierarchy, among other things, had called for world government to be achieved in stages through the forming of world administrative regions. This was in accordance with the UN Charter, which encourages the implementation and administration of world government on a regional basis. According to Chapter 8, Articles 52, I believe it's pages 2 to 3, right, 2 to 3 and 53, one of the Charter under regional arrangements, the strategy was simple. The countries of the world would first be merged into several regions. This would serve to break down concepts of national sovereignty. And that's what they've been doing over the years, breaking down the concept of national sovereignty. You know, that's why they got rid of all these monarchs. There's not a lot of monarchies anymore. You have a few still remaining, but then you don't have a lot of that. And that's really a true nation. A true nation is ruled by a king, right? But anyways, man, you get my point. It says, then these regions would be merged into a system of world government. However, it was soon realized that regionalized world government would be next to impossible to achieve politically because of resistance to the idea from the world's people. So the powers that be decided, which is the secret council of the wicked, by the way, that's Psalms, the 64th chapter. It says to divide the world into economic regions first. See, so economic regions. So that's why you have what? The EU, you have the BRICS. That's why you have NATO. Well, you have NATO, and you have the UN as well. Well, NATO is more military, right? But you understand what I mean. You know, it's regionalization. You know, breaking the world down in different regions. So that's divide and conquer. Okay, divide and conquer. And that's why I used an example of, let's just, Donald Trump's remarks earlier this year, let's just make Canada the 51st state. You know, let them join on to us. Let's take over Denmark. You know, that's so the leaders of those countries can make some type of deal, some economic deal, right? Economic deal. Okay, let's do an economic deal or a military deal where you provide us protection, and then we'll give you certain things, and then we'll all fall under one banner. You know, divide and conquer, man. That's all they're doing. Okay, and that's going to bring in the NWO and the MOTB. So let me move on. So it says here, world into economic regions first, hoping to pave the way for later political unions based on these same geographical boundaries. In order to accomplish this feat, several special task organizations were established to oversee the creation of regional trade associations. The society responsible for Europe's economic integration would be the Bilderberg Group, better known as the Bilderbergs. That's right. You know, you have the Bilderberg Group, you got the Trilateral Commission, the CFR, right, and you have the Club of Rome, right? They're set up to divide and conquer. So that's what I see here. I'm just bringing this out just to further prove that's how they do things. They divide and conquer. They create these different organizations. They create these different unions amongst these other nations to bring forth the end game, which is the NWO, to have complete control. Right. So I hope that makes sense. Let me get this. This is Job chapter 20, verse 20. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fear of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. That's right, when he's about to fill his belly. Pretty much, man, when everything is in place, when he's about to savor and eat, eat the fruits of his labor, which is bringing forth this new system, the NWO, then that's when the Lord is going to intervene. Okay, and that's why it says every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Why is that? Why is that? Because these different nations, they're gonna shoot their missiles upon the whore, and really they're gonna shoot missiles upon each other. Right, so that destruction is coming. Okay, and missiles are gonna rain down upon this devil, man. He's gonna go out by the way of fire. Right, I believe that was in 2 Peter's. It talks about how there was a flood. There was one flood in the beginning, and then after this place is reserved for fire, which is the second flood. Roughly paraphrasing that. Maybe I should get that too. Anyways, it says, verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, terrors are upon him. Yeah, them missiles being shot out, them silos, man. Okay, and they're going to destroy him. And he's going to be burnt up. Now, let me get this. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 4. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Yeah, and that's what people do. They're scoffing and scorning, and they're ignorant, and they're walking after their own lust in these times, and they're scoffing at the Bible. They're saying things like, oh, you really believe that the Lord is coming back? Do you really believe in the Bible? The Bible is just a myth. Why do you identify as being a Hebrew Israelite? Do you really think Yahushua is going to crack them skies in a ship? God isn't black, blah, 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 blah. Right? But things are going to move on. Hey, the Lord has his program. And it doesn't matter if you don't believe. Things are going to play out, whether you believe it or not. Verse 5, for this they willingly are ignorant of that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. And that's true, and that goes back to creation, about how the Lord, he divided the heavens, he divided the different firmaments going into creation. And you still have people that are ignorant of that, even though it's written in the scriptures of how this earth was formed. Right, it's written how the Lord created earth. He created the earth within 7 days. Right, he made things on the earth perfect in 7 days. Right, going into creation and putting man here and things of that nature. It took 7,000 years. But you still have people out there, they're ignorant. They're ignorant by the things. They're ignorant of the things that are written in the scriptures. Right. But we read it earlier, he that is ignorant, let him be ignorant still. That's on you. Verse 6, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Yeah, and then there was a flood in the very beginning. That was the first death, the first flood. And guess who was prophesying at that time? Noah. And Noah was the elect of that time. And he prophesied for hundreds of years. And people thought that the Lord was never going to come during his time. Though it tarry, wait for it. It seemed like nothing was going to happen. And Noah, he was prophesying of things that never happened before, man. About how it's going to rain and how this place is going to be flooded up with water. You better repent. You know, the same thing is playing out now. We're telling you of things that have never happened on the earth. We're telling you about the MOTB, which is going to be made mandatory. We're telling you about thermonuclear destruction. You people don't believe that. A lot of you people are willingly ignorant about that. But it's going to play out. That's why it says here, by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. And yes, a lot of you people are going to get judged. A lot of you are reserved for thermonuclear destruction. And you know, this goes into Habakkuk 2 and 3. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Appointed time is synonymous for reserved, or to be kept in store. Reserved unto fire against the day of judgment. You know, so hey, it's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. Let me get this. This is Revelation chapter 16, Revelation 13 and 16, and it says, and he calleth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, so this is going into that device, the MOTB, also going into the image of the beast and the beast system. Right? In order for you to function in this society, you're going to have to accept the NWO. And what comes with the NWO? You accepting that device, the MOTB. You're going to have to take it if you want to function, if you want to buy or sell. Okay, and once you accept that, you're going to become the barcode. Shy stigma. 666, man. All right, let's see what else I got. See what else we got. No, that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, that's all I got. So with that, hope this was edifying. Until next time, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. The belongers to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that do well and that do teach well and that have taught me this truth. To you I say shalom, and shalom unto the hopeful elect. Kwame Shala and Abad Babal.